So, Space Marines 2, or as I like to call it, big buff dudes and big shit, is here, and after playing the game for 15 hours over the past 2 days, don't judge me, I can only say I found my personality for the next 2 months because this thing did not come with a receipt and I am getting my money's worth. But also, I can confidently say this is the no BS, just fun type of game that every other game should aspire to be. Oh, and you can play it with your friends too. Oh my God, what are you gonna do with that? Oh, you made him eat himself.
Yeah, they're cannibals, bro. They deserve it.
I don't think they are.
Yeah, they are now.
In full disclosure, I was sent a review copy even though I already had the game pre-ordered and I can't refund that either. So keep that in mind. My money's still invested, but I would understand if you think I might be a little biased. Now, as someone who's never experienced the beautiful world of Warhammer, aka the final boss of nerd stuff, I was a little worried about coming into this game blind. I mean, the most I know about this franchise's 50 years of lore is that it's a hobby for 40-year-old dudes to feel secure that they just like to paint sometimes. It's okay, guys. I think it's cool. But regardless, it was pretty easy to feel like I would be completely lost in the sauce of 40K. But thankfully, whether it's the campaign, PvE, or PvP aspect of this game, you don't have to shy away and say, oh, I don't know anything about Space Marines or Warhammer. I can't enjoy.
Marine, all you need to know is that the Emperor lives forever, and he commands you to strike those heretics over there by any means necessary.
And make sure you look good while you're out there. In the campaign, you and maybe 2 friends play as Titus, Gadriel, and Cherion, 3 8-foot-tall, armor-clad, third-lung having badass machines of men, which I'm pretty sure that third lung is just for screaming. Basically, you and the boys are sent on a mission to find out more about Project Aurora while fighting bug dudes and other sects of Marines, which you're probably wondering, 1, what is Project Aurora, and 2, why are the bugs and other Marines fighting you? To which I'd say, I don't fucking know. Shut the fuck up. What you need to know is that as soon as you hit play in this game, to quote Smash Mouth, the enemies don't stop coming till they don't stop coming. So quit using your brain and start using some muscle, Marine, because that's the type of game this is. From the moment Titus's ship crashes down in the intro, the game introduces you to its kitchen sink style gameplay, and it just works. The combat is everything you love about Bloodborne, God of War, Doom, and Mass Effect, yet somehow there isn't anything else like it. It's a legit third-person shooter one moment, and then a hack and slash in the next. How it works is your Marine really has 2 weapons. First, he has his primary shooty shoot, which can range from anything like a sniper rifle, laser gun, fire blast, big gun, small gun, and at any time, you can switch to a secondary weapon that either stabs, bonks, slices, punches, or my favorite, surprise bitch, 2 guns. The game then throws enemies at you with its patented World War Z horde technology. Yeah, it was those guys that made this game, and holy shit, the amount of stuff that they could put on screen in this game feels like black magic. I don't know how they did it, but I see this many enemies running at me at one given moment, and it sets off a primal fear, only to then induce primal rage as I carve through every single one of them. Because this isn't just a shooter that happens to have a melee button, but it's an entire melee system where every weapon not only has its own combos, counters, and guard breaks, but really, it's a hack and slash as much as it is a shooter. You can dodge roll, lock on enemies, sprint, and as your health tumbles down, you quickly realize that while you might be a cool armored up Hulk of a man, if you're not careful, you will be bug food, which, lucky enough though, is where the Bloodborne and Doom inspirations come in. Time a dodge or parry just right and you can stagger an enemy, getting an opportunity to then either shoot them in the face or drench yourself in the sweet nectar of victory. And in the process, earn back a few of your shields. Sweet! In fact, when an enemy damages you, if you hit them back soon enough, very much like Bloodborne, your Marine gets some of his health back right away, which makes the gun that you could immediately switch back to infinitely more useful and dynamic. You're constantly having these sick moments of life or death where you're chaining together parries with executions into dodges only to switch to gunfire, seeing your health drain, running for an execution again, and just repeating over and over and over again. And it just makes you feel like such a badass, especially when you're surrounded by these hordes. Oh my God, these are boners for my eyes. Other games like World War Z or Days Gone do a pretty good job at giving you that oh fuck feeling of an entire army bearing down at you at once, but this game takes it to a whole other level. First of all, at any given time, there are at least 100 different things moving on the screen at once, and second of all, most of them probably want to kill you. The way the bugs swarm, pile over each other, and clamber up walls is a spectacle in itself, where those other games' hordes are essentially one big enemy disguised as a pile of animated bodies. In Space Marines 2, as soon as those bugs hit, they're all thinking for themselves and how to fuck you up. While other bugs will come in close for the attack, others will stay back and try to snipe you from a distance, only for you to dodge their gunfire and realize, oh, the other group flanked me with a boss mob. Great! These hordes basically have you left dodging, ducking, parrying, and swiping just to stay alive in a sea of enemies and blood that almost never ends, and I just love it. I said this earlier, but the sheer volume of stuff they can get on the screen in this game while also making it run smoothly is just, this is just black magic. I haven't been this impressed by visuals since Cyberpunk. This is, whew. I've just waited for a sci-fi game with a sense of scale and just badassery for years. Everything is incredible here. In fact, nearly every mission in this campaign takes my breath away with some cool moment, beautiful set piece, and just really its confidence of presentation, which is kind of crazy because if you haven't noticed by now, this game is incredibly linear. Sure, there are a few secrets and dead ends to explore with secret guns, armor boosts, and audio logs scattered about each level, but with Space Marines 2, what you're seeing is what you get. And I already know some of you are going to be a bit confused hearing me praise a game for its sense of scale and immersion. Well, in theory, the world is just essentially hitting W until the credits roll. You'd probably be even more confused when I told you that this campaign is really only 10 hours on normal and maybe 15 on the harder difficulties if you struggle with it, and I can already read the comments of, oh, there's nothing to do in this game, I'm not going to buy that, that's barely a campaign and it's linear, I only play games that are over 100 hours, no thank you. I just want you to wait, because first, I haven't talked about the PvE or the PvP yet, so maybe wait till the end before commenting on a YouTube video so you don't look stupid like everyone else who does that. It's my biggest pet peeve right now. And 2, some of the best campaigns ever made are only 5 to 10 hours long. And 3, a longer campaign isn't something you really want from most games anyway. A huge AAA trend we've seen in the past decade is this going big or going home philosophy. Gamers say they love their 40-hour plus campaigns, open worlds with side quests on side quests and unlimited replayability, so we've seen developers try to sate that appetite. Whether it's random puzzles, long-ass cutscenes, stealth sections, or entire open worlds, so many franchises in the past 10 years have gorged on content, becoming almost unrecognizable, trying to meet these impossible expectations, only to end up crumbling under their own weight. The best example I can think of is Halo Infinite, which, one, let's be real, has a lot of problems outside of its campaign and is a bit of a dead horse on this channel, but ultimately abandoned the vibe that every single Halo game had before it and hopefully pad out the runtime. I think calling Halo 3 and Reach's campaign's masterpieces is about as uncontroversial of a statement you could say. They're full of memorable moments, impactful gameplay, and are replayed by millions of people every single year, and they're also like 8 hours long. I want you to understand this. Say this with me, ready? Quantity does not equal quality. We gotta shut the fuck up about game runtime, especially when they're not RPGs. You wanna know what Titanfall 2, Portal 2, and every single Arkham game have in common? They're widely regarded as some of the best games ever made, and their campaigns are under 20 hours. Quality does not equal quantity. Space Marines 2 having this short of a campaign is fine because it is so chock full of details and deliciousness and care that I don't care that I can finish it in like 2 days or try out the other modes like the PvE and the PvE, which is basically just dress to impress, which I really want to talk about, but I know I have to do these videos in a structure so they're understandable. Please let me talk about it, please! Making games these bloated mess is kind of like stretching out an image. Sure, you can make them bigger, but as soon as you do, the details start to disappear. In earlier Halos, you're able to bounce around the galaxy, have these incredible set pieces, and while the levels were linear, there was always a sense of scale and feeling you were in a world larger than the rails you were on. Meanwhile, because of the commitment to the open world, Halo Infinite's not just stuck in one location for the first time in the series' history, but the entire map is just emptiness between objectives because, well, unless you're Rockstar with unlimited money and development time, making an open world feel as alive and detailed as a linear one is infinitely harder, if not impossible, and ultimately still just detracts from the core experience of the game, just in an attempt to get the runtime a little longer. Sure, Space Marine 2's campaign could be a little longer. You could use your Marine sense to piece together a crime scene, do a slower paced mission as a grunt, have a 5% chance that an enemy drops a chest plate that blocks 10% more damage, or just hang from a gargoyle, which actually that last one sounds kind of sick. The issue with a lot of these games is it's just that. It's bloat. You cut all that stuff away and it's still a shorter campaign anyway. Instead, what you have with Space Marines 2 is a campaign that's confidently linear from start to finish, no breaks, and while it's probably not going to win any writing awards, it's a game that never makes you feel like you're in a world smaller than yourself without ever overstaying its welcome. Probably because it's got 2 other modes, baby. Now, I gotta warn you, going into the PvE and PvP game modes for this game feels a little bit weird at first. Not because they're bad or anything, they're actually really fun, but I just can't shake this weird feeling of being in a multiplayer game that respects me and my wallet.
Here you are.
What's this?
Your food.
No. I just ordered.
And now it's here.
Where are the, silverware and the plates and everything?
You just eat it straight out of the wrapper and then throw it all out.
You see, I've always thought that we perfected multiplayer games in the early 2010s. You know what I'm talking about? Loadouts, clear progression, customization, actual lobbies, and, I'll even take some microtransactions here as there so long as they don't undermine everything else underneath it. It's the perfect formula, and this game, this beautiful game, proves my theory completely. In Space Marines 2, you won't find any seasonal battle pass, 10 different skins to buy and instantly own, or really any of the modern multiplayer bloat that we're used to. To keep it quick, the PvE game mode is based on this B team you keep meeting up with in the Space Marines locker room.
Dude, nice face diaper.
Okay.
Doing objectives that, well, line up with the main story. Titus wants that thing to go boom? we bring the boom. At launch, there are 6 missions with 4 difficulties that give better rewards the harder you go, which at this point should be a pretty familiar concept because, man, Helldivers was so good while it was good, dude. How do you fumble that? From there, you can choose from 6 classes like Call of Duty, Rocketman, Pathfinder, Soldier Boy, Quiet, or my personal favorite, Hulkbuster, all of which have their own weapon kits, unlocks, skill trees, and man, it's a good thing you're unlocking currencies while you're doing this because guess what, boys? We're going to the armor hall and doing some girl math. When I say this is manlier dressed to impress, I mean it. This is manlier dressed to impress. The customization in this game is Halo Reach levels of stuff. Everything from shoulder pads, armor trims, emblems, kneecaps, helmets, and more can just be swapped out and changed however you damn please. And if I could just nuke the dead horse, Halo Infinite, how the fuck did you mess this up? Unlike other lesser games, if you see a color, emblem, or armor option you want to unlock, getting it is either as simple as hovering over it and seeing, oh, I just have to complete this many missions or win this many PvP matches, or simply finding the heraldry it's from, buying it up with the mission's currency, which, wait for it, you can't pay to get. As of recording this, the developers have pretty clearly stated that the only paid DLC this game will have will be cosmetic. No paid currencies, no locked gameplay, no pay-to-win bullshit, and even the DLC cosmetics that you may decide to buy still need to be unlocked in-game after purchase, which might seem like a small thing at first, but does so much to ensuring that customization still feels special to everyone, regardless if you're spending or not. No one gets excited about unlocking camos or customization anymore because more often than not, you're playing a game where the best stuff is just simply saved for the shop. Cosmetics used to exist not just for creative expression, but part of a game's community and help create aura for players that had them. When you saw someone with diamond guns, you knew 1, wow, this game's only been out for a week, this guy's a fucking loser, but 2, that they were a highly skilled player and not just someone who threw money at the game. In my mind, customization doesn't just let players express themselves, but creates respect and more goals to achieve. Like, look at me. Do you know how many crayons I had to eat to look like this? I don't even like the red ones. And while yes, there are cosmetics in this game locked behind a paywall, the fact that you still have to go out of your way to earn them and give up unlocking something else in their place does a huge service in making sure that customization matters. It's one of the ways that this game feels ripped straight out of the 2010s. It's straightforward, it respects you, it wants you to play the game, have fun with your friends, and what really says 2010s gaming more than a completely tagged on PvP game mode, because this thing, I'm pretty sure they just duct taped this on 2 months ago, and I love it. With only 3 maps, 3 game modes, which hilariously don't tell you what they are in the main menu even if you hover over them, Space Marines 2 PvP game mode is some of the most dumb fun I have had in a bit. It's been good. The mode is 6v6 matchmaking of TDM, Domination, or Hardpoint with all of the classes from the PvE, minus the grapple hook guy, so hey Halo Infinite, at least you got something over on this game, huh buddy? Huh buddy? Oh my god, I think it's actually dead. In only my first couple matches, it became abundantly clear that none of these classes or gameplay was ever made for a PvP environment, and honestly, that's just part of the charm. I love it. This is just arcadey, stupid fun. If I was being critical about it, I'd say it's garbage. The balancing is horrible, the dodging is broken, melee might as well not even be in the game, the spawns are shit, the maps are mid at best, and yet, I oddly found myself getting emotional playing this. It really takes me back to that PS3, Xbox 360 era where you could tell publishers weren't breathing down the necks of developers every 5 seconds and they could actually have fun making some features. I think people forget or don't know this, but almost all multiplayer games started exactly like this. Whether it was the giants we have today of COD, Battlefield, and Halo, or one-off bangers like The Last of Us multiplayer or Arkham Origins, which is such a hidden gem by the way. Even COD Zombies, which is a game mode that I have played more than I have spent time with my father for a little bit of oversharing Brad lore, just started as a little side project for World at War, simply because a developer said, why not? In doing so, created decades of really important memories, not just for me, but for millions of other people. And looking at it that way and playing this stupid PvE mode in Space Marines, I get why I got emotional. In truth, Space Marines 2 isn't a Game of the Year contender. It doesn't push the boundary of storytelling or make games feel more like an art form than a waste of time. You're not gonna see this game on a stage. It doesn't reinvent the wheel or do any crazy tricks with it, but I also don't think it's trying to, and in that way, I kinda wish every game was like it. In playing this game, it somehow took me back to a completely different time. A time when games felt less serious, felt less practical, felt less product, felt less formulaic, and just more fun.